Okay, so I have not cut firewood in about 6 months since last fall. So, first step, what I'm going to do, because I want mine to be relatively all the same length, and normally I'm pretty good at guessing that, what I need. I've been doing it for a number of years, but we're going to try to get a little bit more exact. Here's one way you can do it. So I measured the opening on our wood stove firebox door here, and it is 15 inches. All right. So, in order to keep things easy this winter, coming winter or following winters, that's what we're going to go with. Now, let me show you the next step I'm going to do. So, these are the three saws I use regularly. My Stihl 011 here. Okay, that one's got a little shorter bar on it. That one's set up as more of a trim type chainsaw. And actually, I like this one for making firewood. It's lightweight. I can sling this around most of the day. Then I've got my 021, which seems to run about the best. And then I have my 250. And the plus with the 250 is that you can't, this is a 251C. Now, the 251C means that when I go to start this, the recoil is spring loaded. So let me just show you how that works. I'm going to step on this for now, but all I have to do is pull back and it does its own work, right? It loads up and it spins the motor, and I don't get any kickback, and it's not hard to pull. Okay, now what I did, right? The point here is I don't want to get out there and cut firewood that's too big to fit into my wood box. So you'll notice I took a marker and I made a mark on the bar on each of these. This one here, it actually comes back up to that first, in front of that first nut. And on the 011 here, it comes behind the bar nut, the nut that holds the bar on. So now, I always know exactly where 15 inches is. And you can say, well, I could lay a tape measure out. Yeah, you can do that. But then you got to mess with it every time you start a new piece, right? And you got to be careful not to cut the tape measure. Been there, done that before back in my early days. So, I've gotten used to it. I pretty much know where everything has to be cut for me to get them consistent. But I saw this the other day on Outdoor with Morgans, where he was cutting everything to an exact length. And he does it a little differently. He does a tape measure, hits it with a dab of paint, spray paint, or he's got a board that's measured out so many, and you set the board alongside. But this is kind of nice if you do it this way, because you don't have to mess with no tape measure. You don't have to mess with a board. You've got your set distance right here on your saw. So how do you do that? Okay. And some of your pieces of, tree aren't exact, right? They're limbs. They make, it's hard to lay something alongside it and get it exact because it bends and twists and all that stuff. So, very simply, this is how you work this. All right. So as I cut this, I won't start this up right now, because then you wouldn't hear me talk. But I set this alongside. Right there is my bark. I turn it 90 degrees, I cut. Then I measure out the next piece. The tip of the bar, I look for my mark, turn it 90 degrees, and go. And so I work all the way down the line, just doing that. And basically you could start on any end. Okay, so we're going to cut some of this up, get this small stuff cut up. And then on my video last week, we've got that pile in back. I'm going to attack that a little bit. We're going to see how bad the mosquitoes are. And it's supposed to rain later today, so that usually brings in mosquitoes. They get hungry. And I'm going to try to get some wood made here for this coming year. This stuff over here, this is all pine. This is just campfire garbage. So, all right. With that said, let's get the chainsaws filled up with gas and see if we can get some cutting done. All right, so let's see if we can get this thing fired up. Let's see if we can follow our lines and cut up some nice consistent wood. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is trying to get two for the price of one never really works that well. Okay, choke on, throttle lock. This one's actually got, it's an arthritis causer. Because this one, for a little motor, has quite a bit of snap to it. I'm getting too old for this. All right. This is what happens when these things sit a while. There we go. Got some. firewood, the small stuff, I hate thinking with this. The smaller stuff I'm not a fan with dealing with. I'm going to get the tractor, I'll throw this in the bucket. That's going to go back on the pile. And actually, I might just throw it in the bin here and let this dry. I think I'll get a little nicer stuff for in there. But nah, I'm going to put this right in this corner, because I'll start with the far side and then I'll work my way this way. By then, the small stuff will be dried enough and will burn. And like the guy from Outdoors with Morgans, you know, it's all my firewood too. I get my wood for free, because if I don't get my wood for free, then I might as well, you know, just turn the gas furnace up a little bit as far as that goes. So I take only, you know, if somebody's got a blowdown or, you know, a dead tree. There's plenty of that in the North Woods. So I'll cut up, you know, their blowdowns or their you know, their dead stuff like I did with my neighbor there. And I've got 3 acres here, so I got a couple dead ones toward the back by the property line that I've got to cut up. I don't think I'll get to those maybe until this fall. But right now the ticks are all bad, and this is about the most humid day we've had in a year. So yeah, not probably the best day for me to pick to do this. But I only do about 2 hours at a time. I'll run through a tank or 2 of gas through my saw, and that's it for the day. I'm not one of these guys that's going to cut 8, 12 hours, you know, to get the wood filled. This is something I, you know, do a little bit at a time so I don't kill myself in the process. But it's, you know, it's good exercise. So, with that said, hopefully you found that tip, you know, a little bit worthwhile. Just put a mark on the saw like I did, a little magic marker, Sharpie, and yeah, that'll wear off in time. But I know exactly where it is. All of these I'd be willing to bet, if I take them next to each other, they're exact. Pretty close. So good little methodology. And I like having the 3 size saws too. This one here is just really nice for, I could, as far as for my arms and that, I'm a smaller person, but I could run that saw all day long. As far as that goes, it's light, and that 011 has a heck of a lot of power to it for as small of a saw as it is. So, pretty good deal. I'm going to stop the video right now. I'm going to go to the back after I throw this in the wood bin, in the woodshed, and then we'll continue. So I love my firewood from last year. These are pieces that for whatever reason, they're on the ends or whatever, they were cut a little too long, okay? And actually someone was kind enough, Mike was kind enough to give me a load of firewood that he had cut. And, you know, my wood stove is a little bit smaller than most, so I don't take quite as long of a piece. That's why I got to cut most of my own firewood, because the lengths aren't standard. It's a little shorter. So these I'm going to trim back and make them the right length. I'm going to start piling back in that corner. I got one piece here to split, and then we're going to cut this stuff up too with the, I'm going to keep going with the 011 until I run 1 tank of gas out of it, and then I might run the 021 just so I've run it again. And the 026 I'm going to try to leave alone today. I don't think I'm going to get into some of these bigger ones on the bottom, but those I'll have to use or not the 026, but the 250S. Okay, so that's kind of our plan. We're going to see how we do with the mosquitoes back here, and we're going to see if we can get the wood splitter that tends to be a bit of a pain when it hasn't been run in a good number of months. Yeah, this might be short-lived. The mosquitoes are tending to find me back here, and I hate fighting with them, so and I'm about due for doing another spray. So we'll see.